Good, almost noon. It's but still morning, I think. It's May 31st. It's a Tuesday, and as I often do on Tuesday, I'm heading downtown in a two-part walk. One's to get down, one's to get back. It's very green. My grass needs cutting. It's really shot up since they mowed it just a week ago. Anyway, can't do that right now. They were just fertilizing it too, so then I have to water it to make that take hold. Kind of a breezy day today, but pleasant. Not hot, but pleasant. Again, I'm going to go down and do some writing. Then I have to go to the Cornwall Centre and see about a watch battery. Unless I walk to the Cornwall Centre first and see about the watch battery. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Maybe not. I think I'd rather go straight to the hotel for lunch and worry about the watch battery after that. I have a big chunk of editing I want to get done, so. Getting very close to the end of this massive freelance editing job I've been doing. A 230,000 word novel. I've been copy editing. It's not substantive editing, it's just copy editing. But still, quite an undertaking, and once it's done, I will look forward to having more time to do the 1,000,001 other things I need to do. Editing the upcoming anthology that I kickstarted, featuring science fiction and fantasy by authors who are guests on my podcast, The World Shapers, www.theworldshapers.com. I've got all but 4 stories in. One of those stories is the one I have to write, so I should be giving some thought to that pretty darn soon. And then I've got books I'm publishing. I've got audiobooks I need to proof listen to. There's grant application to finish. Tons of stuff. And to top it all up, we're going to be away, well, at some point, and I'll be losing some working time. But, oh well. And on, it's hard to see. Hi Kirk in Vancouver, and Dan, not Don. Hi Don, Dan, not Don. Dan, not Don. Wasn't that long ago I was walking around in minus 40, and here it is, spring, almost summer. I banged my knee on something in the house and it hurts, but I shall persevere nonetheless. Press on regardless. It's about a 20-minute walk, the first portion here, and about the same coming back, oddly enough. Maybe a little longer coming back depending on what route I take. And in between there'll be probably a 3-hour gap, so. And after watching the recording, which I normally splice together to make a single file, but if you're watching it live, this will be about 20 minutes. This will be the windiest corner here. Oh, what's that? Oh, nope, it's behind me. Hi, Roger. Trying to read that. Oh, that's the must be the zipper I've got it attached to. Happened once before. Let's see if I can fix that. I'll move it off the zipper. Put it on the lapel. Maybe that helps. Is that better? It's not really pointed quite as much at my mouth now, but hopefully there's no clicking. Yay! That happened once before. Nobody told me while I was walking. So. There's the windiest spot around the tall building today. Blowing the camera around because it catches the wind like a sail. Whew. And that's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum building. Used to be Saskatchewan Government Telephones a long time ago. Next we go by Leopold's Tavern. You'd think I'd go in there more often than I do, close as it is to the house, but I generally don't. Then you get Specs, eyeglass store, Petro-Canada. A little less windy now that we're away from the tall building. Still got dust in my eyes, though. That's always a problem on a windy day. If I'm lucky, this might time out pretty good for crossing Albert right here. Oh, yes, it will. Excellent. Once you're on this side, it's quite easy to cross streets because they're all one way. So you can sort of keep an eye out. But I'll go down this way because I often don't. So I'm paralleling somebody on the other side of the street. If I cross over, I'd be trailing him, which always looks suspicious. I can cross here now. By these condos here. More wind. More tall buildings. We'll do it every time. Pretty good yard here. Lawn, I should say. Nice and green. I think that's where that last gust of wind was coming from. Around that one. You see, there's actually like 2 rows of buildings here. Never been up those steps to see what it looks like on that side of things. That's the North Canadian Oils building dead ahead. For Regina standards, it's quite busy on the streets lunchtime. People often who find this walk, who live in other places with more people, will wonder where all the people are in Regina. We'll go down here to see the nice cherry tree. Oh. I hear a honking somewhere. And then a fire engine just turned in down there. I wonder if that's some sort of alarm that it's checking out. Or if that's a car alarm. I can't quite tell. Another tall one. Let's go this way. Oh, whatever it was, it just quit. This alley takes you straight down to City Hall, except it doesn't go through, of course, but points you at it anyway. That's the old YMCA in front of us. It's cutting us off between here and there. Unfortunately, it's closed. Used to be my gym. There's a look at downtown from a slightly different angle. Don't know that I've ever walked through this bit of parking lot before. I don't think so. Now, is that a house, that one? It actually looks like that one's still a house. It looks nice. Doesn't look like it's a business. Although it seems to have a parking lot in behind it. Old apartment building there. Older, not particularly old, but not particularly new either. That one's for rent. Like to live downtown, or pretty darn close to it. Depending on how you define downtown, I guess. I think this is the transition area. So I can turn along 13th here. And we'll go up Lorne, which will take us to Victoria, which will take us to the hotel, which is my destination. Hotel Saskatchewan. It's a Marriott, like everything else. I think it's part of what they call their signature collection. And of course, it's an old railway hotel, CP hotel, I believe. Besborough was a CN hotel up in Saskatchewan. It's the more spectacular of the two. And yes, it kind of was a competition. There's the back of the hotel over there. Yeah. Apparently my sidewalk is closed for no apparent reason. Oh, it must be fresh concrete, I guess. I guess that's a pretty good reason. All right, we won't walk on it. Looks like a bit of a new drive there. Not a new drive, but a new beginning of a new entrance to the drive. There's the Hotel Saskatchewan. Coming up behind First Baptist Church here. Over here is the Frontenac, one of my favorite apartment buildings. Very interesting styling. I don't believe I've ever been in it, though. Been in the Balfour, which is my other favorite one here. Despite all the wind, the blossoms are fresh enough that they're hanging in there. Quite often, it seems, just about the time the blossoms are at their peak, we get a howling wind and they blow off the trees, but despite the wind, appears to be hanging in there. United Church over there, City Hall behind it. So we'll go around in front of First Baptist. That, of course, is Victoria Park over there. There's First Baptist Church, another flowering tree. One of the smelly ones. Not a particularly fragrant, well, it is fragrant, but it's not a particularly appealing smell to my nose. Particular flower. It's more on the, what would you say, spicy side, savory side than the sweet side. Here's the old land titles building, as it says up there. Home to Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame, among other things. And we're almost to the hotel. There it is. There she blows. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the Rider game tonight. Should be wearing my jersey. We put our tickets up for sale, but they haven't sold because we got a dinner. So I don't know. They may go to waste tonight. It's an exhibition game. So I'm sure we'll be there for the season opener. June 9th, I think. If I remember right. Always pretty. Especially on a sunny day like this. I will be having lunch and working behind those windows momentarily. It's going to be very windy on this corner too. I will stop here. Thanks for walking with me in that short part. I'll be back a bit later with part 2. Bye. Okay, so good afternoon. It's still May 31st. This is the second part of my walk downtown. I'm in the hallway between the Bay and the SGI building. I'm just heading out through the SGI lobby here. That's Saskatchewan Government Insurance. That's their lobby over there, and where you go for, driver's licenses and things like that. We're going out here onto 11th Avenue, right here. That's used to be the Imperial Bank of Commerce, but there's a nice restaurant in the bottom of it now called Avenue, which is actually where we went for my wife's birthday dinner, which is very nice. I'm going to walk down here. I don't walk down 11th very often, so it's a slightly different path. And it'll be windy here because the building is our taller buildings. So I don't want to step in that hole. I think you're not supposed to go this way, but we are anyway. And we will cross over here. So that's where we came from, downtown. That's Sastel building, switching center. It's like, theoretically, Regina is a nuclear-free zone, but in the event of a nuclear war, we're targeted, partly because of that building, because it's a major hub for communications in North America. Somehow, there are people who seem to think if you put nuclear-free zone on your city limits that there's no risk of anybody dropping a bomb on you, which doesn't work that way. It used to be a fur storage place, but not anymore. Now it's the Cure Kitchen and Bar. We were in there not too long ago. Quite a nice space. I don't know what it was originally. It's an old building. Then we have, this building has been here forever. Oh, that Chinese restaurant has been there forever too. Newtown Chinese restaurant. This has been here forever. Vintage vinyl. Just what it sounds like, but it's also vintage vinyl and hemp emporium. The hemp part was a little iffier back before they legalized marijuana. So it's all about hemp. Definitely not about marijuana, just about hemp. Yeah, that's the ticket. Courthouse there. Not the federal one, but the provincial one. And this is a clothing store here. My daughter's bought a few things at from time to time. I really haven't walked down this way more than once. The Tiki Room clothing. Mortis and Tinnen. Also, I don't know what that is actually. Not familiar with that one. Cool stuff, I guess. It's an empty one. That's a call center over there, or at least it used to be. There's a thing with cannabis. There's a cannabis store. Yeah, I'm sure that's a call center of some sort over there. And then this is actually a kind of a retirement residence kind of place. Senior apartments with full kitchens available. Call for details. We'll carry on. Actually, maybe I'll walk down here past St. Paul's. Whoops. First I'll fall off the curb if I'm not careful. Saskatchewan Writers Guild was in that building once upon a time. Quite a long time ago now. I remember being up there doing the 24-hour playwriting competition one year, which I think I came third in that year, despite not actually having spent 24 hours at it. I was doing a show at the time. Was it the Mikado? It might have been the Mikado. So I went off and did the show and then came back and carried on writing. Wrote a full-length play in, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. I've always been fast if I put my mind to it and I know what I want to write about. This will take us by St. Paul's Cathedral, which is the oldest building in downtown Regina. It goes back to the late 19th century, Anglican Cathedral. This is kind of the fellowship hall, so it's much newer, obviously. But then the church itself, right up here, with City Hall beyond it. Never used Belgian cleaners and tailors, but I know them well because I always used to run an ad in the Regina Lyric Musical Theatre, Regina Glide Opera program, so I always saw their ad when I was doing the programs. Here's the old cathedral itself. About 1895, I think it was built. Been in there a few times. Sung in there too. The City Hall Parkade here. The City Hall beyond it. And if we turn back, you'll get a good look at St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral. I'm going to keep walking this way because I have more often walked along Victoria. Interesting reflection there of City Hall on the side of the Cooperators building. Been in there quite a few times. Doctor's offices. And that sort of stair-step building over there has lots of stuff in it. Used to be a gelato place down in the bottom, which I kind of miss, although that must be 30 years ago now. It's also where you go if you need a passport, and ours will need renewing in the next year or so. I'll do it at a time of year when not a lot of people are looking for passports. I hate those whites. Hate waiting for stuff like that. Oh, perfect timing. buildings in a single round. Couple of old apartment buildings there. Never been in either one of those. Excuse me. First Karen Baptist Church. I'm not sure how Karen got in there. Not a biblical name. In this next building up here is the Union Hall, which oddly enough I have been in because we actually rehearsed in here, or did, for our last Regina Lyric Singers concert. They have a nice space down there that we rehearsed in. Canadian Mental Health Association over there. Another building. Here's some bloomin' lilacs. Look at those bloomin' lilacs. Oh, that's a nice lilac hedge, that one. I still haven't seen any lilacs on our bushes. I don't look very close, but these ones are in full bloom. You can smell them too. Very lilac-y. There used to be a school over here, which is what is now an empty lot. Oh, white lilacs. So they've got purple ones in the back and white ones along here. I guess I'll go this way, back to Victoria, and work my way down across 13th and head on home. Won't try to stretch this out. So dandelions, they're weeds, but they're also wildflowers. You can sort of tell that there used to be a school there. The fence is still kind of there, not doing anything, just there. And then it's a bit of a park, but not exactly a well-maintained one. Football field, but not much in the way of turf. And then the playground. Fairly basic. What else do you need in the playground? Slides, something to climb on, and swings. Oh, there's more down there. I don't know if this was the old school playground or if this was put in after the school was gone. I guess just to be different, we'll walk down the alley here, past the playground, the old schoolyard. You can always tell it's windy when the trash bags have turned inside out. They've been blown out of the container, just flopping around in the breeze. Suffered the same fate, I see. Sucked out, no longer inside. Lucy Ely. Oh, Lucy Ely Park. Well, I knew Lucy Ely vaguely, a little bit. I mostly know her because she complained about the building of the Kramer IMAX Theater when I was at the Saskatchewan Science Center. She thought somehow that replacing the old kind of corrugated steel lean-to with generating units in it, replacing it with a modern, attractive, well-designed IMAX theater using exactly the same amount of space, maybe less. She somehow got it in her head that this was going to destroy the park. I still don't know how she got that in her head. It was so obviously not the case. But anytime you do anything in Wascana Park, well, this is Retallick, so I have to cross here. Anytime you build anything in Wascana Park, Wascana Center, you will run into opposition, even if it makes no sense, and it certainly didn't in that case. But anyway, she was known as a kind of a gadfly of city council. She was always petitioning and complaining, and I guess I'd call her an activist. That's usually used as a term. Somehow an activist is supposed to be seen as a good thing, but of course if you're an activist for some absolutely bonkers idea or some ultimately destructive policy, being an activist isn't a good thing. It's a bad thing. And people seem to think you should just get a pass for being an activist. I've never understood that. Then I'm not much of an activist, I guess, for anything. More of a cynic, really. Nice little garden here in between the two spaces. If I were going to be an activist for anything, it would be for free speech. I am a free speech absolutist, pretty much. You shouldn't be able to say that, or he shouldn't be allowed to say that. It's a far more dangerous statement, no matter what that person is saying, than what that person is saying, as far as I'm concerned. And that used to be kind of what I thought was, a fairly common position, certainly among journalists. And now it's not. If you proclaim that you're a big proponent of free speech, somehow you're now a extremist, which is sad for me, very sad. And I worry about where that will lead us down the road, although being 62, I suppose at least I'll be dead before civilization collapses utterly. Perhaps that's a bit apocalyptic, but some days I feel that way. Well, we're on Retallick, so this just straight down here will take us to our crescent, the crescent on which I live. Doesn't belong to us. See if the cat's up. He's probably looking for petting about now, wondering where I've gone. He's become much more sociable than he used to be, I think. He does seem to like his people around. I don't know if it's because of his age. He'll be 10 in August, so he's not really an old cat, but he's not a kitten anymore either. Or we've just socialized him really well over the years. He's very much a known person cat. It's rare for him to make an appearance if there are strangers in the house. If they're there long enough and nothing much seems to be happening, he will sometimes make an appearance. But a doorbell will send him scurrying for cover until he's sure it's safe. And his name, of course, is Shadowpaw, which is where my publishing company, Shadowpaw Press, gets its name. He's a purebred Siberian, which is a semi-long hair, fairly large cat. He's about 15 pounds, 14 to 15 pounds. Another old apartment building. And he's black, kind of. he looks black until you get him in strong sunlight, and you realize that his fur is actually a very dark brown. He also has a lot of gray too. So he's certainly not a pure black cat. And his markings, well, they're not really markings, but his fur color changes over the course of the year. Parts of the year he's got more gray than other times of the year. Siberians molt. So times of the year his fur comes out in clumps. He always sheds some, obviously, but there are times when it's quite noticeable that he's shedding in clumps. They have very soft fur. It's kind of a kitteny fur, this breed. Softer than many cats. Not that cats in general have harsh fur like some dogs do, but softer than even your run-of-the-mill cat fur. Mini library, there's a lot of those in our neighborhood. I don't know if anybody ever takes any books out of them or not, but they're there. Right along here that a couple of houses burned down, so these 3 newish ones here were built after that happened. This one was under construction for a long time, but eventually they got it done. This is a 4-way stop. Means yes, I have the right of way. It's a lovely day, except for the wind, which is only really annoying when you're around a tall building that amplifies it. It's a nice yard. Not a lot of flowers yet, but I'm sure there will be more later. There's a few, though. Oops. And of course, we're seeing lilacs, and all the trees are in bloom, and fortunately they are fresh enough, the blooms, that the wind today has not denuded the trees. Like that one over there. The elm trees are dropping seeds, so it wasn't that long ago they cleaned out all the gutters, and now they're full with elm seeds and other seeds. There's always something in the gutters. They sweep up about twice a year, but the plants keep dropping stuff all year long. Just certain times of the year more than others. Okay, coming up to Daven School here on the left. Sits kitty corner on its corner. Was built about the same time as our house and by the same architect, Francis Portnell, whose own house is on the same crescent we live on. Probably the one he built while he was building the school, I would imagine. They call it the Crescents now, but I'm going to call it Daven, because after all, that's what's over its door. Quite a pretty school, and has been well kept up. They renovated it a few years ago when otherwise it might have possibly been slated for destruction. This cherry tree here was planted by Pam Goodale, who was the principal for a while, and Pam Goodale is the wife of Ralph Goodale. Ralph was a long-time MP and Minister of Public Safety, in fact, until he lost in the last election. Or was it the one before that? So he was a cabinet minister and MP for a long time. And I think he's got some sort of patronage appointment now, I don't remember. Anyway, I've known Ralph for a very long time because when I was at the Weyburn Review, he was actually, at the time, he was the youngest MP. He was our MP. And then he was an MLA for a while. Then he went to being an MP again. and he was an MP for a long time. He looked like he must be, no way he would ever lose, but he did, because the Liberal Party is not very much on the winning side in the prairies. Trudeau's name is pretty much mud out here. Among many people. Enough so that a Liberal finds it very difficult to get elected in Saskatchewan. Grass being mowed over there. I should actually put water on my yard since they fertilized it. So I might do that before I even go inside. I'll stop at the corner here. How long was that? Probably a bit longer than going down because I started from a bit further back. But anyway, that's it for this walk. And I'll probably be back tomorrow. And I'll talk to you then. Bye for now.